During the Great Depression, while people were, left without any hope, um, and they were seeking solace and comfort, they couldn't really afford any movies, they couldn't afford any entertainments, theaters, so they would turn on their radios. And there was a folk singer named Woody Guthrie who would sing a bunch of folk songs that promoted hope, peace, and tackled a lot of political issues that people struggled with and people connected with. And a quote that Woody Guthrie has in one of his songs called Pretty Boy Floyd that really sticks with me is he goes, "I've seen lots of funny men. Some will rob you with a six gun and some with a fountain pen." And at first, it's just like a play on words, but when you really deeply analyze it, um, the words ring more true than ever, especially today. Um, I think politicians have a way with, you know, robbing us of our ability to govern ourselves. The whole idea of government for the people, of the people, by the people. But the problem is the people we elect are not, people anymore. And there's a big difference, I feel, in the differences between campaigning and running a country. I feel like, you know, the skills needed to campaign are far different, and I think polar opposite than the skills needed to run a country back in the day. George Washington and Ford set the precedent of the taboo. It was used to be a taboo to campaign where you didn't want to, be in the spotlight, chase people to vote for you and all these things. But Teddy Roosevelt was the one who really shifted that opinion with the idea of the bully pulpit. But now you have the idea where, you know, when someone's shooting a gun in your, like, has a gun pointed in your face, you know exactly what their intentions are to kill you, right? But the idea of the pen is a very interesting technique of quote unquote killing someone, whether it be a Jim Crow law or, a welfare check. I'll circle back to that a little later. But the pen is interesting because on its own, the physical pen poses no danger unless you, I guess, try to stab someone with it. But what the ink that disperses from that pen is really the one that results in a lot of danger. And that draws me back to the idea of a welfare check. And I think this is what my biggest concern is over the Democratic Party, where almost figuratively they have a lot of minorities and people in the inner cities still tied to the party on quote unquote leashes for power. Obviously Democrats back in the day were the party of the KKK. You think you're Dixiecrats, just vicious white supremacist racists, exerting their control over, the black population. But now I think that control is still present while, the Democratic Party is the one of, outright saying, hey, we support civil rights X, Y, and Z, but you're not seeing anything change. Especially in these strongly Democratic run states like Illinois, and California and Washington. Why isn't anything happening? Why is it still saying the same? Why are they still campaigning on the same things? And I think that's the idea of the whole welfare system that almost incentivizes people to be poor, especially in the inner cities when they don't have much resource. And that's the power I think that the current Democratic Party is still waging on minorities. So basically what happens is, and from my best understanding is, someone who's below the poverty line, right below the poverty line, they can qualify for welfare given to by a lot of liberal democratic policies. So they get this welfare, they enjoy it because it's free government money, right? They spend it on the basic needs, food, water, shelter, all that good stuff. But as soon as, any upward mobility happens within these communities, maybe you get a new job, you make more money, get a bonus, you all of a sudden fall above the poverty line. So, those benefits get taken away from you. And once those benefits get taken away from you, you don't, you honestly feel worse. So, I think the Democrats have done an excellent job at containing people below the poverty line in a means to constantly guarantee that loyal vote. And I think voting is something that's very habitual. People don't really switch up their voting patterns. People don't even, you know, make up their own politics. That's usually given to you by your parents. You just learn from your parents. So when you have these cycles of just people who are constantly voting Democrat because the Democrat tells me that I'm going to get more money, he's going to push for my rights, and nothing changes, you know, I think eventually, people are, and hopefully will break free from that, or at least force politicians to start caring a little bit more. And do I think the Republicans are doing a good job at that? Hell no, they're not. They don't really care either. But what frustrates me most is that the Democrats are going to pretend to be the ones that care when in reality they don't really care. And, a Barack Obama or Kamala Harris presidency, in my opinion, won't change it. We could have a whole executive branch, we could have a Supreme Court justice, we can have all these sort of things, with people of color. But I feel like that's just tokenism at this point. But yeah, the pen, long story short, the pen is a very powerful weapon, and many people are getting robbed by the pen of the politician. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.